To do a fight scene properly, you need to really train for it and be prepared for it. And for this movie, I trained with the guys for 2.5 months. So when we did the very first fight sequence, my whole body was ready for it. Mentally and physically, I was ready for it. And it was really thrilling to be able to actually do it after you've been trained for 2.5 months, to finally get to do it in front of the camera and see that it turns out well. That's the satisfaction. My Ariana DeBose, I love her. I love Ariana. I met her during the height of the award season for our movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. And she was very supportive, and she was rooting for me. She was very kind and very friendly. And I will never forget, on the night of the Oscar, when she came out and she was holding the Best Supporting Actor envelope. And she opened it and announced the Oscar goes to, and she said my name with such emotion. I loved her. I love her from that moment on, and I will love her for the rest of my life. So, and when her name was first mentioned for the role of Rose, I told Guy, our producer, I said, can you please make that happen? Please do whatever you need to for her to say yes. The last time Sean and I shared any meaningful scenes together was 40 years ago on The Goonies. And when I was told that, our producers were out to Sean for the role of Cliff, immediately I thought he was just the perfect actor to play Cliff. And I really want it to happen for a number of reasons. One is, he's a great actor. And second, we have this relationship. We are, brothers for life because of that movie, Goonies. And I remember when they reached out to him, I texted Sean and I said, hey, I know the producers are talking to you, but I just wanted to say that it would mean the world to me if you would say yes to the role of Cliff. And fortunately, he said yes. And reuniting with him on this movie, it was so special. And I remember when we did our first scene together, all of a sudden I was transported back to 1985 when we were on set The Goonies. Suddenly I was a kid again. I love JoJo. He is a very collaborative filmmaker. He listens, and he's very, he came up with, he loves the little stuff. He's very good at just coming up with the little stuff that it's there, and it just enriched the characters a lot. He's very open to ideas, and he also has a lot of great ideas. This is his first time as a director, but it's something that he's been preparing for a long time. In terms of action, it's so easy to him. He knows the language. It's very easy. But to see him direct the drama stuff, the dialogue stuff, it was great. He kind of reminded me of my mentor, Coy Yuen, who, he kind of followed a very similar path and went on to become an incredible filmmaker himself. And that's JoJo for you.
I think you could boil it down to, the story of two people who, for different reasons, really wanted to choose each other, but things got in the way. I also think that this film is about, the reality that opposites attract. You're watching two people who don't necessarily make sense together, and yet they make perfect sense. I've had a really good time working with JoJo. I think the way he jumps in, he's fearless, I think there are a lot of people, even with his background, who, once they got this opportunity could be very, overwhelmed by it. And I think he feels pressure in his own way, but it has never kept him from being collaborative. I think I was initially drawn to the character because I've yet to play anyone like her. She's a little bit unhinged. It's giving like a side order of Harley Quinn, in conjunction with all of the badass women that I have loved seeing on camera. It's all of those different things. You can be badass and quirky at the same time. And I subscribe to that, to that gospel, to be honest. I loved that she literally kind of feels like the backbone to our story. And you don't have a film if Rose does not choose to put her crazy Valentine's Day plan into action. Part of the reason I wanted to work on this movie was because they were like, oh, it's a star vehicle for Ke Huy Quan, and I was like, great, sign me up. I had the privilege of presenting him with his Oscar the night that he won, and I watched him through that campaign season, because it is a campaign, let's just be real. But he walked through it with such joy and such care, and he was so supportive to the people around him. It was really a beautiful thing to watch. It told me a lot about the person that he is, and so getting the opportunity to work with him on set, he could not be a more generous, protective, loving scene partner. But it wasn't a stretch to, fall in love with Ke on screen, not at all. I'm like, ooh, Mr. Quan. He's charming. Oh, come on, he's got more charm in his little finger than most people have in their whole body.
It takes place on Valentine's Day, so even though we're on this backdrop of like an ex-mob enforcer type killer turned realtor, it's really about this man trying to commit to the woman he loves. I come from an action roots, so I'm trying to keep it, in the same 87 North way of doing action movies. It's like fast and fun and like very dynamic. We basically rewrote it for him. So a lot of the, the personality traits and everything it's key. And I don't think people understand too, is like he came up doing stunts in Hong Kong and things like that. So when they see him do action, I think they'd be surprised. I mean, he did summon everything everywhere at once, but that was just kind of the tip of the iceberg. So I think people are gonna be really surprised how physical he is. There's fire, but there's vulnerability, there's power. She has all those things kind of rolled up into one. And it's really hard to say, because it's really hard to say what one trait it is. I think it's just a mixture of things. And I'm very I go by vibe, kind of thing. You feel it, and she just is that character. I don't even know how to say it. It's like Rose is her.
On the surface, it's a very high octane, crazy action film, very much in the 87 North brand. But underneath it is a character story, deep drama, and very entertaining laughs. But I think on the front end, people will see that trailer and they'll come for the action, and then I think we'll really be able to surprise them with the depth of heart. I think people are gonna love the cast because they're hard not to, and I think they all shine. I think, again, it's a small cast, and so we really built it out so everyone really finds their moments in a great way. But I think people would love Ke. I think they'll be really surprised on the levels and the depths he can go, and even his physicality. I mean, even today, I was like, oh my God, he can still kick that guy all the way up to his head. It's like he's doing, I'd say, almost 90% of his stunts, like an amazing number of the stunts. And he wants to do them all. We have to convince him not to, but I think people will really be impressed with that. And I think they'll remember the heart most of all. I hope we get at people in that way. I hope they remember the sort of emotion, so not just the fun set pieces.
Ke Huy Quan was always somebody we were really fascinated by. He's, obviously now an Academy Award winner, but even before then, he had been working in the action space as an actor for a very long time. And he's incredibly talented at martial arts and has just this amazing enthusiasm and charisma that I think is always connectable, is super connectable, and we were always had an eye on trying to find something with him. And we went to him with the script and asked him what he thought, and he really connected with it. He connected on, sort of so much of the Ke Huy Quan connected on the character in specific, that he was this man who was trying to do everything he could to be a good guy, and yet he couldn't change what he had done in the past, and that in fact it was haunting him, and it was probably haunting him even through this sort of, I call it toxic positivity, that he is having at the beginning of the movie before he has to actually confront his brother. And I think he really, Ke Huy Quan really connected with that, and connected with the idea that you have to be your true self. I mean, if anybody is their true self, I think Ke Huy Quan is. He is a very connectable person. Honestly, people love Jojo, and the whole team would do anything for him. Jonathan on set was very focused, very serious about the work at hand, and yet always has a smile just under the surface to have a good time. So he did a great job. Love Hurts is worthy of a theatrical experience because it is so original. It is an opportunity for you to go and experience something that is, a mix of martial arts and action in a way that simply isn't done very often at all. Has something for everyone. And I'm so proud of the fact that there's all these different voices in the mix, that there are, that a story can be told that connects in so many different ways to so many different people in our world that populate our world every day. I am proud of the music. I am, proud of the team. I think it's a beautiful film. It has something for everyone who still believes in love. And I'm really, really proud of the film.
Love Hurts is the story of Marvin Gable, who is a real estate agent, who is really not what he seems. In sort of classic sort of action movie trope, he has a past that's coming to catch up with him. He really loves this new life of selling homes to people because it feels like it's sort of clearing his conscience, maybe clearing up his karma. He's really passionate about it because he's done some things in the past that he has to atone for. Rose comes back and she wants to reclaim her life, and she needs Marvin's help to do it. And so together they have to decide if they're going to take down their former boss and how they're going to do it. But Gable's sort of at a crossroads because he really loves this new life he's making for himself. But ultimately, he'll have to learn, can he really enjoy it and be fully invested in that life if he doesn't face his past and clear up the things that haunt him. Ke plays such great empathetic characters. I think it just stems from him naturally. I think you put a camera on Ke, and it's really, he's instantly likable. I mean, it's hard for him not to be likable. And that's one of his superpowers as an actor. And I think, casting Ke in this role put Marvin Gable in a different light. He may not have been your first conventional choice for this type of film, but when we were actually presented with the idea, we were like, that's brilliant. Jojo's really great at using purposeful action to define his characters. Now, he did that for years as a choreographer. Now it was his chance to do it. Now is his chance to do it as a director, and we were really excited to see what he would do with that. Action films, you can really learn so much about your characters through the action sequences. And so having someone as versed in action filmmaking as him, it was the right call to put him on this project.